finished. This video is going to go up way after I've built it. This is going to be a gift. So he did not want me to upload this video until he's given it over. So we're just going to... This would normally be built, I think, 642 or 43. But it's just going to get numbered wherever it would fall, as if I build it a little bit later, since it's going to be, since we can't upload the video. And I don't like them being like way off in numbers, like, why is that number gone? And then like a month later, that number pops up. So this is the weird and whatever build. So this is for, I even found the podcast. This is for Jason, who does a podcast on weird and whatever. So his buddy that was helping him out with him, Joe, who ordered the build, thought this style was going to be pretty cool. So this is a UFO beaming up Bigfoot. So try and roll it around a little bit. You can see Bigfoot there, right? And then he wanted to do it in orange lume. So orange lume, the nice thing about orange lume is that it shows up orange like normal. So if you're going for that orange look, you've already got it. Now at nighttime though, it has like almost a greenish kind of look to it. I mean, it looks like it's orange in there, but it's definitely not the same orange as, you know, in the daytime. It's almost like a green kind of mixed with it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I see it, but then when I look at it, I'm like, well, it's orange. It's just super light orange. But, so this dial took forever for us to get sorted. We couldn't get it deep enough, and finally what we ended up doing was using some orange cerakote that has lume in it. So we were able to laser out the dial, then cerakote it in orange lumed cerakote, and then sand it down, and then I did pips that matched it. So basically the pips that I did are actual pure lume, whereas this is cerakote lume. So at nighttime, this is a little bit, you know, hazy kind of looking. You can see like texture in it, whereas on these, they're more, you know, pristine. Doesn't have that kind of haze look to it. So we did a white handset, brushed case, and then we did a custom painted second sand in white with the same exact orange. Well, I say same exact. Orange paint that matches extremely well, but it is the same orange as your pips around here. So laser etched dial, cerakote lume background. So this was extremely custom. It took a long while to get it kind of sorted. He wanted to do the black with orange stitched leather. So with that in mind, I did a black aggressive shark tooth bezel with an orange Scandi insert, which has your minute markers all the way around and your hour referencing all the way around. So did a little flying saucer here on the crown. We did a low profile exhibition caseback, a black rotor, and then since what we were able to get work had to have like a heavier gapping around it, to get it to go in there. It wasn't as large of a dial. It wasn't pressed all the way out. So I ended up using one of, you can't even see it with this, but I used a clear plastic movement holder. They're a little bit larger. There's a lot less movement in there, and it holds the movement in there tighter. The stainless steel one is just machined slightly smaller, and since that dial was about a 0.5 millimeter smaller than what I normally use, I felt like it had too much play. Now it has no play at all in there. So I swapped that out. It did have a stainless steel in there, but I swapped it because I shook it and I could kind of feel it, and I could tell it wasn't the rotor. and it was a little bit of that dial kind of moving, just because it wasn't all the way out to the side and being held in by itself. So, but yeah, so that's the build, man. The white hands almost have like a blue kind of loom to them. And then your pip has more of a green to it. Your second hand has more of a vibrant orange to it. And I thought, you know what, all those mixed looms look awesome. So we made sure to do blue and green when we did your bezel, when we did your bracelets. So you've got some mixed loom in the beads that come with it too. So I hope you like it. I thought that's weird and whatever, right? It's a little bit of whatever going on in there. Nothing it doesn't have to jive. It's just, it is what it is. So was super happy to build this. Was very difficult to build, but once we finally got it sorted, I thought it came out pretty awesome. So with this, it's also going to have one of the Weird and Whatever little logo here on the clasp. So if you swap it over, you're going to have your stainless steel look to it, right? Which will go nicely with it as well, because then the only thing that's going to pop is everything with color here in the center, since everything else will be silver. So this will have quick disconnect where you can pop this off. These are extremely tight in there. See, there's not a lot of gap there, right? So when these go in here, they go in pretty tight. But whenever you want to swap this, you'll just pull this down to where you can see that spring bar in there, and then use a little spring bar tool and pop it out. And then just leave that spring bar inside this, and leave it inside this. These, he also did a little dog tag in steel, and it kind of gave it a nice little holographic look. When we were practicing on this, he had done it on here. Your quick disconnect ones are in the back. You pull this little lever down, and it retracts this top one. So you just put that side in, use the gapped, the larger side, to feed the side with the lever. And you can see it would go into the side, not that side. And then you just pull that little lever down and walk it in and release the lever. So you'll see. But engineered stainless steel coming with it as well. Additional reference on this: the bezel will turn left, the bezel will turn right. It does not click. It is just held in with a tension ring. I'll turn off this backside light back here, just so I can get rid of some of that glare on there. So it'll turn left, it'll turn right. Just held on with a tension ring. I just kind of line it up as best as possible. You can kind of line it up, look at it, and go, no, it goes a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. But it's on there decently tight. This is an automatic mechanical, so you can wind it, you can wear it, you can put it in a watch winder. But if it's dead, or you're not going to be very active, you want to pre-wind it a little bit. So how you do that is you back the crown off the threads a little bit until you hear it and feel it clicking. At that point, you can wind it, and a wind is a turn away from you. Turning it back towards you doesn't do anything, but it's a lot easier to keep your finger spacing and wind it back and forth. So if you do this for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, even if you're not very active, you will keep time on it, because this little bit of winding mixed with your little bit of movements are going to turn this rotor, which self-winds it, right? So if you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out that 31 plus hour power reserve on it. You can't overwind it, so you can sit here and wind this all day if you want. And that's kind of what I do. I wind them for a while and then set them, and then make sure that they're keeping the proper time the next day. So when you feel comfortable with how much you've wound it, pull to the one end only, click, and you can now set your time. You'll notice it is not a hacking movement, so it's going to keep going. You'll also notice you've got a wobble crown that deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem, putting any bend in there, putting any adverse pressure on the movement. So it just kind of rolls with it. You can always just kind of pull it, and then you won't have that. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 5:32 p.m.
5:32. Then you just push it back over till it clicks and goes back down, and then start threading it back on. And that is the build. So as a whole, I thought it came out pretty awesome. So you've got some silver, you've got a little bit of white in there. I thought about doing silver hands, but the white contrasts well, because even though this is silver in here, this kind of looks like it's white as well. Those kind of look like they're silver, just depends on the light that hits it. But a shiny silver over top of that kind of backdrop with the woods, I thought it needs to actually contrast it. And black hands could have worked too, but it turned it a little too dark. So I thought white was a good option there, because in different lights, the silver kind of looks like it's white. So even in the dial itself. A lot of times I'll do a silver dial. People go, "Oh, I love that white dial." And I'm like, "Which one's the white dial?" And they're like, "That one." I'm like, "Oh, it's silver." But it's just the light cast on it looked like it was white. But so that is the build as a whole. You're going to have this little practice run in there too. See if we can get it in the light. Nice little kind of holographic kind of look to it there. That was us practicing. And he sent me that. I have 4 or 5 other dials where we were trying to work this and could not get it to work perfect. So as a whole, it turned out really well. I know that we won't be able to get a good look at this, but you can kind of see you get some blue in there, some green in there. All right, so that's about as good as I can get it. But thank you for thinking of me, Joe, and I hope your buddy Jason likes this. And also, I happened to have, where we had made wallets for people a while back where people wanted black wallets, and I happened to have one with orange stitching. It has a pocket on the other side that the guy ended up making a little too large for our IDs. We had people wanting the ID side. So I guess you could put one here and have one kind of stacked higher if you have like concealed carry or something like that, where you could actually see both of them kind of in there. You can kind of just, but it is a little bit larger. But what I thought, and that's one of my business cards, I thought, you know what? I had one of these and it matches that strap. I'll throw it in. You can give it to your guy. If he uses it, great. If he doesn't use it, it's all right. But at least it goes with it. So with this, you're going to have your just special edition box. You are going to get watch clearance is good on all glass and metal parts. So if you have the stainless steel in there, it'll be good on the watch as a whole. It's just non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. It just cleans it up. You're going to have some leather conditioner in there to keep this leather super, super soft. This is a very, very, very soft leather. And you almost have to look at it twice over to figure out which side is up and which side's down, because it is, the stitching on it is done well. And I believe that's the same for the other side. Let me get it focused on there. Mute that right there. So if you look at it in real life, tiny bit of glue. You see it way better in a camera than you do in real life. But yeah, it would be very difficult to even tell which side's up and which side's down. But if this is ever not as soft, apply it on the front, back, let it soak in, remove any excess, and it will go back to being perfectly soft. Same with the wallet. And then lastly, you're going to have some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon. We just repackage it. It's basically like Polywatch. This is an acrylic glass. You can scratch it, but if you do, don't worry about it. Put a tiny bit on it, buff it out using your included microfiber that will be wrapped around your watch and your box. And just go across it perpendicular, fill in that scratch in, and just buff it out. It'll be gone in about 20 seconds. There's enough in here to last you your entire watch for your whole life. You need just a tiny, tiny bit. So that is the build. Thank you, Joe. I hope your buddy likes it. And thank you for thinking of me once more. And sorry it took an extra minute. We just want to make sure we could get it perfect for you. And it was just kind of figuring out as we go along on some parts of it, but we are there. So thank you, sir. I'll get this shipped out to you. And if you want me to build you something custom, you need to reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.